Okay, these notes are on page 31 or 41 in your toolkit. On the bottom of the page, we're talking about something called distributive property. Distributive property, reading what it says here, states that multiplication can be distributed as a multiplier of each term. That sounds very confusing, but it's a pretty simple concept. We'll look at a couple examples. First, I'm going to just use numbers. So if I have 2 times 5 plus 3. Now, using order of operations, I could add the 5 and the 3 and then multiply it by 2. That would work. 5 plus 3 is 8, and 8 times 2 is 16. Keep that in mind. But distributive property says that I can write this using the 2 as the multiplier, and it means I multiply 2 times each thing in the parentheses. So that would mean 2 times 5, which is 10, right? The addition stays between them. 2 times 3, which is 6, and 10 plus 6 is 16, which is what I said I would get if I added 5 plus 3 is 8, times 2 is 16. So it's a different way to do that problem. Now, why do we want a different way? Well, because when we have problems like this one over here with the tiles, we have 4 groups of x plus 3. So 4 groups of x plus 3, well, we're going to do the same thing. The 4 is our multiplier times each thing in the parentheses, right? So 4 times x is just 4 times x, right? We write that as 4x. That's what that means, 4 times x. And 4 times positive 3 is positive 12. So we distribute or give that multiplication of 4 to each thing in the parenthesis, and now we have an equivalent, an equal expression, but now it doesn't have the parentheses, which is an important thing because sometimes we need those parentheses to go away. Okay, one more example. Let's say we have 2 groups of 3x plus 6. Okay, so this time I'm going to take 2 is our multiplier times each term in the parentheses, right? So 2 times 3, you can multiply the 2 times the 3x. It is totally fine that there is a variable there. So 2 times 3 is 6. We multiply the numbers. We keep the variable term x. 2 times 3 is 6, and then we have the x there, so it becomes 6 times x plus 2 times 6 is 12, so that becomes 6x plus 12. And we can't add that together. We're thinking, well, depending on what class you're in, you may have talked about like terms or not yet, but we can't add those together yet because they're not like terms. So that is the distributive property. It's fairly straightforward. Drawing those little arrows helps us remember to multiply the number on the outside times both terms on the inside. But once we do that, like, that's it. But it's a very important concept. So make sure you have it written down.